In 1857, the Supreme Court looked at a black man and told him, and every other black person in this country, that they could never be citizens of the United States. It took a war and a constitutional amendment to overturn that and enshrine the rule that all children born in the United States are citizens, with very few exceptions. And on April 1st, the Supreme Court is going to hear a case that could undo that constitutional amendment. So let me take you back for a second. After the Civil War, there were millions of people in this country that had been born here, who bled here, whose hands literally built the wealth of this nation, and they had nothing. No citizenship, no rights, no legal claim to the only land they had ever known. Because the highest court in this country had already decided in Dred Scott that black people were not and could never be a part of this country. So in 1868, the 14th Amendment was ratified. But according to the Trump administration, the 14th Amendment was only written to overturn Dred Scott. But the 14th Amendment did that and so much more. It was written with fury. All persons born in the United States and subject to his jurisdiction are citizens. All persons. Because the people who wrote it had just watched what happens when you let the government decide who's human enough to belong. And they said, never again. And the 14th Amendment didn't stop at citizenship. It became the legal backbone of nearly every civil rights victory this country has ever had. Desegregating schools, 14th Amendment. Interracial marriage, 14th Amendment. Same-sex marriage, 14th Amendment. This is the amendment that holds the door open for everyone. It is the single most important promise that this country has ever put on paper, and President Trump is trying to tear out the first page. His first day back in office, he signed an executive order attempting to end birthright citizenship for babies born to parents without permanent legal status. Every federal court reviewed it and said unconstitutional, but he doesn't care. He's taking it to the Supreme Court. The case is Trump v. Barbara. Oral arguments are on April 1st. This isn't one policy, it's a pattern. Since he's been back, this administration has gutted asylum protections. They've deployed massed armed federal agents into communities, targeting immigrants and U.S. citizens alike. They've put American children on deportation flights, children in the middle of cancer treatment. They've punished non-citizen students for using their First Amendment right to speak. And the head of ICE said that he wanted to build a deportation system like Amazon Prime for human beings. That is the machinery behind this executive order. This isn't about border security, y'all. This is about redefining who gets to be American. And they're starting with people who can't fight back. So if the Supreme Court lets this stand, this country will tell hundreds of thousands of children every year who are born here, you're not ours. These are kids who will grow up here, who will speak the language, learn the history, and none of this would matter because someone decided before they even took their first breath that they didn't qualify. We did this before. This country already told an entire group of people that were born on this soil that they didn't count. It took a war to fix it. It took an amendment to the Constitution. And now we're watching somebody try to walk us right back to where we started. The ACLU is fighting this at the Supreme Court. And I'm partnering with them to ask people to add their name. Sign the petition. The link is in my bio. They're bringing those signatures to Washington and rallying outside the court on April 1st during those oral arguments. The 14th Amendment wasn't written with loopholes. It was written with purpose by people who understood exactly what this country is capable of when you leave the door open for exclusion. We're standing at that door right now. Sign the petition. Share this. Tell someone who hasn't heard about it. April 1st is less than a month away, and this deserves our attention.